Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 287 for August 15th, 2018. My name is Russell Frost. I have the pleasure and honor of being your host this evening, along with one of my good friends, our man in Portland. And even though he's wrong all the time, he's way smarter than I am, Mr. Patrick Connor.
We do disagree a lot. For as much as I like you, I don't know why.
Yeah, I know, right? It doesn't make any damn sense.
It is funny, but hey, this is number 287. So this is the 16-bit math coprocessor show. We got our first show title right there.
Are you serious? Is that like some?
Yeah, ancient history there.
That is 16-bit math coprocessor.
We can come up with something better. I'm sure the chat room
will do that. Yeah, no, but I had to write that down because I've never heard that before and I didn't know that. And
I've been a nerd for a long time.
Yeah, you have. I'm willing to bet probably most of your life.
Yeah, definitely.
So Tony Schaefer was trying a valiant effort trying to be on the show, but he is traveling this week and unfortunately just has like some kind of heinous, he's out in the middle of nowhere and he has some sort of non-existent bandwidth, worse than me last week.
So A for effort. He tried.
A for effort. Absolutely. No, it was great that Tony definitely came in, did his best, and then valiantly retired. So Patrick and I we're going to carry it all. We're going to do it.
That's right.
Yes. Let's see. First up this week, huge and sincere and birthday greetings to our friend Mark Coughlin. If you watch The Tesla Life, if you watch What Drives Us, you've seen Mark always having his Diet Pepsi and some sort of hockey sweater in appearance. Mark's birthday, I think, was a day or two ago, but he is still celebrating or recovering from a celebration, or I'm not sure. But you know what? Give the guy a break. Like, he takes one show off a year or something. So happy birthday, Mark.
Yay.
Yay. Happy birthday, Mark. Next up, I just finished a review that I've wanted to do for 2 years. And longtime viewers, watchers, listeners know that I'm a two-wheeled guy, that I like two-wheeled conveyances of all shapes and sizes, powered by all kinds of devices. But it's probably going to be no surprise that if they're electric, I like them even better. So there was a small company named Ubco in New Zealand that made what was ostensibly like a working off-road electric small motorcycle. Okay. And it had some really cool things about it. A really awesome frame that had a lot of modularity to it that allowed you to attach, that would allow you to attach accessories which may not even exist, but they have these bolt-on points. So you could attach really cool stuff. You make it yourself, buy it, whatever. Most companies don't think that far ahead. They're too busy dressing it up with pretty plastic or something else. Ubco made this awesome little bike. And anyway, 2 years ago, it's made in New Zealand. You know, here I am in the United States. I never have a chance to drive it. I'll see it. Once again, it's an electric scooter I'll never get. Well, guess who has a U.S. distributor? And guess who's doing some demo days? And guess who just finished a review at youtube.com/whatdrivesus, the Ubco 2x2. Why is it a 2x2? Well, I'm sure you've already figured it out. It's not that mysterious. This is a motorcycle, a two-wheeled conveyance powered by lithium-ion batteries and electric motors plural, motors in each wheel hub. It is two-wheel drive. And it is amazingly cool to drive because two-wheel drive bike off-road is a lot of fun. It's a lot more stable. It's got a very different ride than a rear-wheel drive bike. And no, there's no such thing as a front-wheel drive bike, at least that I'm aware of. Let's put it that way. I'm pretty sure. So I just finished a review. I encourage you to go check it out. What Drives Us, youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Look for the Ubco 2x2 review or preview, excuse me. I only got to ride it for a little bit. I didn't get to keep it for a while and check it out, but I am totally blown away by the tech, by the quality of the build, by the thoughtfulness that went into the design, keeping it simple and yet again keeping it flexible so that there's an off-road version, a street version, and you can modify these things any number of ways. I was talking with the UBCO rep, and I'm not going to blow too much of the review here, but because this is a computer-controlled device, they can do all kinds of cool things like Tesla does with over-the-air updates. So imagine you get one and then you decide you want to add ABS to it. Well, they could do that potentially with a software update. It's an amazingly cool bike. And I know you need at least two, Patrick.
Oh, yeah, that does sound pretty cool. There are some hub wheel, front wheel add-ons that you can get and attach to any bike, but those have some real problems if it wasn't designed for that. Yeah. And so I'm leery of hearing a motor on the front wheel, but if they have good engineering and good design and it controls both the front and the back, so it can use them smartly and not just one on the front, which could cause problems, then this sounds pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, I was out at the Pala Raceway, at Fox Raceway, and there's a lot of sand and gravel and stuff like that, and it powers through that stuff, which is so cool, because normally you get a two-wheeled thing in something like sand or gravel, and you're like, holy shit, I'm going to die.
Yeah, you stop real fast.
And this thing drives really well through that stuff. Now, I'm not a big off-roader. I've never been an off-roader. I don't even know that much about it, admittedly. But from a street perspective, too, it gives a certain firmness to the ride that you don't necessarily have. I would worry a lot less about puddles, about railroad tracks, about all kinds of things, having two drive wheels going. And it's a blast. It's totally cool.
Yeah, that's the fun part. That's what matters.
Yeah, it's totally cool. And it's, it's not that expensive. Let's talk about price. The off-road version is $54.99. The street version is $64.99. It's limited right now. It's limited at 30 miles an hour. But again, this is not meant to be a car competitor. And it's 75-mile range, 48 amp hour lithium ion battery, runs 50 volts. It charges in 6 to 8 hours on 110 with an included charger that is not difficult. You can buy an extra battery. The battery will pull right off the bike.
Cool.
So if you were buying it for work, for instance, you could buy an extra battery and always have a battery ready.
Or when you get to work, just pull it out, take it into the office, and plug in there.
Absolutely.
Right. You don't have a full charge for your way home.
You don't have to park near the charger.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? And one other story that I don't think I included in the review. So Catalina Island, those of you that are familiar with California know the offshore island, Catalina Island, has a really cool, like in the middle of the island. I mean, there's Avalon on the edge, but to get into the interior, you've only been able to ride bicycles.
Oh, wow.
It's hilly and it's difficult. It's challenging at best. Well, the parks there have said that with the UBCO, and they have some there on the island, you can ride that anywhere you want on the island because it won't destroy the island. It won't potentially set it on fire, things like that. So, I mean, this thing has enormous wide uses. Imagine a fleet of these at every national park where you could just cruise around off-road, on-road, and do whatever you wanted. You're not going to be loud. You're not going to be scaring things. You're not going to be, but you're also not going to be, maybe you're not so good at pedaling the bicycle.
Right. Yeah. That is cool.
This is one of the other thing that gets me excited about this is the micromobility and what we're seeing right now with electric scooters, electric bicycles, and all of that. What it's doing is it's giving us, all of us, more options of how to get from point A to point B. It's not just we have to get in the car and go. Now we can, grab a scooter. We can grab an electric bike. We could grab something like an UBCO 2x2. That's really amazingly cool.
Yeah, when I was down in San Diego, there were scooters all over the place. I don't remember I think there was Lime and Bird, I think were the two. I don't know which ones they were. And if I lived there, I would definitely have that app and be able to grab one when I wanted one.
Yeah.
It looked like you when you were done, you went to the app, logged out, and left it wherever you wanted.
And they have what are called bird hunters that go and grab them and charge them up. So there's a job. I mean, and there's issues with the scooters and the bikes as well. I mean, because this is brand new, and sadly, as always, our legislation is trailing our development. And it would be nice if we kind of were ahead of this, but that's kind of the way things work. But again, just having those options where you don't have to drive a damn car to get from point A to point B is huge. Imagine the lack of congestion in urban environments, in neighborhoods, the lack of noise, the lack of pollution, because you have these choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get a little excited about this stuff. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I used to ride until I got a job out in the suburbs, and then I had to get a car. And now when I do ride, which isn't very often, I'm like, oh, I'm not as good at this as I used to be. As far as like hills or whatever, it's like I'm a lot older and a lot more out of shape. So having an electric assist makes riding fun again.
Yeah, absolutely. And still allows you to get as much exercise as you want.
Yes.
Which is the really cool thing about e-bikes, I had that same epiphany, riding around. I went out and bought a bicycle and figured out, oh, wait, I'm not 30 anymore. And I don't build up that muscle. Like I remember riding all over town. I did for years. And now it's like, I'm going to die. I'm just going to die. I don't care. So yeah, check out Ubco. You can search them, Ubco Bikes, on Facebook, but check out the review and let me know what you think. There was another interesting discussion. Jim McPherson, who's been on the show, the autonomous legal expert, who is a brilliant follow on Twitter, by the way, Safe Self Drive, brought up a really good point the other day about how we need new definitions for micromobility devices. For instance, what's a scooter? Well, a scooter is a device, is a two-wheeled motorcycle, small one, driven by an internal combustion motor. It's an electrically powered wheelchair for old people. It is a little skateboard with a handle, and either you push it or it has an electric motor too. Those are all scooters.
Right. Yeah. That is hard to define.
Yeah. We need to come up with definitions and words. For instance, like in California, you are not freeway legal unless you have more than 250 cc's. Well, if you don't have a gas motor, you have no cc's. So how do we determine what electric vehicles will be allowed on the freeway and what won't be? And I'm not necessarily pushing for that per se. But what I'm saying is all of our way of thinking is centered around gas motors.
Yeah, defining it by cc's is silly. It should be about top speed and maybe like a acceleration rate.
Weight of the vehicle as well. The last thing I want to be like this Ubco is awesome. I don't ever want it to be in a freeway. It weighs 144 pounds, which is really cool because it's very light. But on a freeway, on a 150-pound bike, you just, every time a truck passed you, you'd move over a lane. It would not be fun.
Yeah.
Again, we need to catch up. We need to have this conversation and catch up our definitions and our laws to this, because these are great developments. We just have to make sure that we're doing it right. That's all I got. Before we get into the news, you can support this show by going to patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. That's patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. That is less than 25 cents per show. Come on, a quarter? You got a quarter? We've never had a budget. We don't have advertising. None of us get paid. We do this show because we love it. And it would be wonderful if you would go there and donate a little bit to us so that we could do things like go to different shows and get some technical gear that would be helpful. All of that kind of stuff. Pay for hosting that, we just pay for now anyway. Patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. And look, very soon, we'll be adding some member benefits depending on what level you subscribe at.
Ooh.
Imagine having Patrick Connor's home phone number.
You have to pay a lot for that.
Hey, I'm whoring you out, dude. Okay. Patrick's like, Like hell you are. Right. 10,000 a month. You can stay in Patrick's spare bedroom. It's the Airbnb option. Well, our first three stories are all kind of connected. So let's talk about it. Green Car Reports just 2 days ago noted that the time is running out for VW diesel claims. If you sadly were hosed by Volkswagen and bought one of their TDIs, there is a settlement that you could claim that could be as much as, I guess, $5,100. The deadline for that is September 1st. It is August 15th. September 1st is the deadline. Got it?
Yeah, and it says at least $5,100.
Oh, excuse me, at least $5,100. Thank you.
That's like not chump change. That's not just $2,000 like Tony would leave laying on the ground. This is 5,000 plus.
Exactly, and there are huge fields of purchased Volkswagen TDIs, and we need to add to that. We need to create more. Wait, no, that might not have been the point I wanted.
No, but if you bought this car and you had a certain expectation and they did not deliver, and not only that, even if you're like, oh well, I don't care about that, you still lost resale value on that car. So you're absolutely due this money. So the 5% of people that haven't done it yet, you need to get out there and do it. It is you deserve it.
How's that for pretty? Your car, your piece of crap TDI. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, your TDI needs to be in this field, okay? And Volkswagen needs to buy it back. Because, yeah, good luck selling that bad boy, right?
Yeah.
Ouch. Sorry about that. Next story. Tony actually found, before he shuffled off our digital coil, Roadshow, CNET's Roadshow reports that cadmium was discovered in 124,000 VW EV and plug-in chargers. Now, just if you're not familiar with your elemental table, cadmium is pretty toxic. And let me give you an example of how toxic it is. These chargers allegedly contain upwards of 0.008 grams of metal, of cadmium. 0.008 grams of cadmium. Now, we're not talking about like a baseball-sized chunk of cadmium. We're talking about a little tiny speck of cadmium. That shit will kill you.
Well, it's in your charger, so I don't think people are eating their chargers. But it is important that you understand that it's there, so this can be dealt with appropriately when the car is recycled or however it's properly disposed of. You have to be aware of that.
Right. And let me be clear. If you're in the US, you don't have a problem. This only affects chargers that were in the EU. Allegedly, according to Volkswagen, there's no cadmium in the US chargers.
Just cadmium cream eggs. Oh no, that's something else.
I love those. I love those. So again, you know, like, and keep in mind, you know, Volkswagen, allegedly a German company, where cadmium is banned from usage, which is part of the reason that this is such a scandal. Once again, Volkswagen just going, fuck it, we don't care. We're going to do whatever we want and do that. Yeah, I got some Volkswagen issues.
Yeah, I wonder if any other Volkswagen execs will end up in jail.
Yeah, we can hope. We can hope. Now, next, I want to show a video. And you're going to look at this and go, well, how is this connected to Volkswagen? Trust me, all will become clear. All will become clear. So let me do this. I'm going to run this, and here we go.
Meet George Jetson. His boy Elroy.
With instant acceleration, electric cars are more fun to drive and more affordable than ever. Electric cars are here. plug into the present.
So I thought that was just immensely cute. I like it. And why is that connected to Volkswagen? Because the lawsuit over the diesel gate. Did I say gate? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Over the diesel scandal paid for that commercial.
What's wrong with calling it Dieselgate? That's what it's known as. I mean,
just hate attaching gate to everything. It's so like it's a scandal. It's not a gate.
Okay.
But what a really number one, what a really clever commercial. I love the Flintstones versus the Jetsons thing, and I liked seeing a generic electric car ad. They're cool, that they're fun.
Yeah, so that was interesting. It was obviously a Chevy Bolt. It still had the bow tie on the front, and yet it says sponsored by VW at the end, which the money from the scandal. No, this is called this Russellgate. That's its show title.
Oh, yeah. Russellgate. Yeah, I can't write it down, but I hate it.
Yeah. That money is supposed to go to things like, was it Electrify America? What they call it?
Recharge Electrify America. Yes.
Yeah. So everything should be coming out under the Electrify America name. Volkswagen shouldn't be trying to get some of their own advertising out of it. It seems like it defeats the purpose of penalizing them if they're just going to use it to advertise for their own company. Now, it wasn't like it was a VW e-Golf or something in there. That would have made I would be yelling then instead of just talking about it.
Yeah, I think there actually was an e-Golf at the end.
Right. Yeah, they showed several cars at the end.
Several cars.
Yeah, and that's fine. It was, then it was like you said, it was a generic ad for electric cars.
Yeah, the third car is an e-Golf. But whatever. I'm going to cut Volkswagen a little bit of slack here. It's not in my DNA, but Electrify America, promoting electric cars because they're cool. Absolutely, they're cool.
Right. And if it said Electrify America, that'd be fine. I just don't like the idea of them using money that was a penalty for their own advertisement.
Right. That's sponsored by Volkswagen Group of America. No, it's sponsored by Electrify America. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I totally agree, Patrick. I totally agree.
Yeah, and if they use any of that Electrify America money to install their own proprietary Porsche chargers, that's going to be a huge Pat rant on that show.
Right on. I totally agree with that. I'm surprised you like that. I figured I'd be the only one that would like that.
Oh no, it's pro EV. I mean, that's and I did think the Flintstones versus the Jetson thing was kind of clever.
Totally clever. Come on, with the little music and everything.
And especially the first guy had the Planet Hugger bumper sticker, and yet you see it through the emissions. So yeah, it's I'm often at showing my car off at car shows, and someone comes up and says, "Oh, well, I have a hybrid," and I'm like, "Well, that's good. It's a small step, but you're still using gas." And anyway, yeah, that reminded me of that.
Sure. And if everybody had hybrids and some of us had EVs, we'd be living in a better world, right?
Yes. Yeah. Which is why I'm not like, oh, you're still using a gas guzzler. I'm like, it's a good smell. Yeah. And a plug-in hybrid would be even better.
Yes, absolutely. Again, choices are good. We just need to get rid of the bad choices.
Exactly. Yep.
We get rid of the bad choices and, we'll all be doing better.
Yeah. And now the question is, how do you get rid of them? Do you ban them? Do you tax them? Do you just try to tell everybody that they're morally horrible? Yeah, we'll find the right way.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question because, how do you, and people are keeping their cars longer and longer. They're not buying cars as often as they are. So how do you convince somebody with a 10-year-old Altima that they need to get a Leaf? You know what I mean? That getting a Leaf would be a good idea.
Right. I think we just have to keep doing things like raising the gas tax. But then again, that punishes people that can't afford to get a new car. So it's a tough situation.
It is. There's not a lot of easy solutions. It's a complex problem. It would be great if we could subsidize everyone to get a newer, safer, cleaner vehicle. If only. We just don't have the money. We're poor.
Which is one of the things that's cool about the new Oregon EV incentive is that there's a $2,500 incentive for everybody. And then if you're below a certain income level, there's an additional $2,500. So yeah, there you go. That helps out the people that need it most.
Absolutely, which is fantastic. I should be capped at 40 grand. I don't think anything over 40. Well,
yeah, I don't know what the so the are you talking about the income or the
cost of the vehicle?
Yeah. So I think the base price has to be under 50,000. I'm not sure what's
probably reasonable. Yeah. And again, the main thing there is I want to encourage manufacturers to make entry level, to make inexpensive, affordable electric vehicles.
Right.
I don't want to penalize people who are going to go buy an $80,000 Tesla. I just don't need to incentivize them as much as I need to incentivize somebody else who's struggling, who doesn't have the money maybe to do that. But those people are the ones, those are the vehicles we're going to get off the road first.
Yep. It's very true.
Yeah.
And there's affordable used leaves
yes.
out there. Definitely. I was just looking at the, since it's an acronym. So I think Leafs, I'm trading in our Leaf soon. We're getting a Tesla Model 3 next week. And the Kelly Blue Book trade-in is 37 to 4,500. So yeah. So I don't know what the actual purchase price would be if you were to buy that, but I'm not getting a lot of money on my trade-in, and that's fine. That means somebody else can get an affordable electric car. It's only got about 50 miles range left, but that's a great grocery getter. It's a great commuter. I would never suggest doing a long cross-country drive in it, but for that you can swap cars with a friend or another car in your household or whatever. There's ways around that.
You can rent a vehicle. There's all kinds of, we don't all need super long range. I got into a discussion with somebody on the Leaf thing about on the Leaf, one of the Leaf boards. And they said, well, Leaf's no good. I can't drive to Dallas in the Leaf from California. And I'm like,
right. You don't need to.
How often are you going to Dallas? Well, I just went to Dallas last year or something. Well, the rest of the time, what do you drive? Like 40 miles.
Right. Yeah. So that's a perfect example of there's a phrase that I heard recently. You can hold a rock concert, and if that's what you advertise it as, it'll be fine. But if you advertise it as a ballet, then that's not going to work. And vice versa. You can hold a ballet, but if you advertise that as a rock concert, you're going to get the crowd really upset. So here's the perfect example. This is a car that has good local use. Most people spend most of their time within the island that they live in and work in, and that's their where you do most of your miles. Now there's exceptions to that, obviously, and if you're one of those exceptions, then a car like this is not for you. It's it only works for 90% of the people, not 100% of them.
Right, and. Well, and this is what Evan and I are, and like, not every car has to be engineered for every person.
Right.
You totally don't, you wreck it. The idea is to give people choices. So if the Leaf, if the Leaf at 150-mile range isn't enough for you, that's fine. There are other choices. But that doesn't mean that the 150-mile range Leaf is a bad choice. It just means it's a choice for some people.
Exactly.
But for some reason that only comes in when we're talking about alt cars. When we're talking about gas cars, people are like, whatever. You know what I mean?
No, it applies there too. I mean, if you need a truck to move furniture and your friend pulls up in a 2-seater sports car, you're really like, hey, this doesn't help me. So it's the right car for the right job. That's what really matters, which means you have to understand your use case and then buy a car that fits it.
Right. You have to rationally look at it. Not, I drive to Dallas once a year. You have to look at the other 364 days and go, hey, you know what? Most of the time I'm driving 40, 50 miles. Who cares? Right. Why do I need to buy a long range vehicle? It doesn't make sense.
Especially if, like you said, you could get this affordable Leaf. You're saving a lot of money on gas. If you do need to rent a car once a year for a long trip, well, all the money that you saved on gas is going to pay for the rental and then some.
Exactly. Gas, insurance.
Exactly.
I had something else, but it
Maintenance,
evaporated.
oil changes.
So this
brake pads,
this is
all
the
the
point in the show where Patrick and I stop agreeing.
All right.
And from here on in, we're going to be fighting like cats and dogs.
If you guys were getting bored with the love fest, it's over.
Exactly. Like Patrick and I are like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right too. This is great, man. Love you, bro.
We haven't even talked about this yet. And you already know. This is cool.
Oh, yeah. Friend of the show, Edward Niedermeyer, is a brand new columnist at the Automotive News, which is a place that I praised long before I had any idea that Ed might end up there. I like Automotive News because it's a good source. Now, you can think what you like about Ed. That's fine. But he wrote an interesting article that I wanted to have a general conversation. And Patrick, that it's you and I tonight is kind of perfect in some way.
Yeah. I think the conversation would have been mostly you and I anyway.
Yeah, exactly correct.
Rounding everybody else out.
Exactly correct, sir. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of Tesla stuff going on right now. There's Elon's tweets and the SEC and is Elon on drugs and the whole thing about, oh, look at him. He's already like, God, you had to say Elon was on drugs. Dude, I'm willing to bet right now. And I said this to Evan on the Nissan thing. I'm willing to bet right now that at some point Elon comes out, goes into rehab, and blames it all on some bad habit that he had temporarily. You want to bet against that?
What do you want to bet? Oh yeah, I'll take. Oh yeah, we've
Really?
already got. Yeah. All right. Somebody in the chat room write down all of our beer bets that Russell and I have going.
Yeah, I think there's another nice bottle of beer in there.
All right.
You know, like a Chimay kind of.
Yeah. So when's the how long is this going to run before he has to be in rehab?
Oh, what's unreasonable? 6 months?
Okay. 6 months.
6 months. So we're talking August. So I got to count my fingers.
April 15th, tax day.
April 15th, tax day. Thank you.
I'll give you. Yeah.
I said by that point, yeah, Elon. It's just because
8 months, but that's okay. Yeah.
At some point, is that 8 months? Oh no. We
That's
don't
okay.
want to go that far. Let's go to then we'll do February.
Okay.
February, because 6 is fine. This is gonna. So Patrick, tell me, do you find anything troubling in Elon's Twitter habits?
Oh, when you invest in this company, the CEO is part of the package, and he has started tweeting more than he used to, but I don't think this is all that different. He's even the way he started the Boring Company was with tweets about stuff, and he's so no, he is who he is, and if you have a problem with that, then that's not the company for you to invest in. But I don't expect him to like, oh, I don't like what he does on Twitter, he should change. I don't see that.
So you don't see a problem ethically or legally with him saying, I'm taking Tesla private at 420, funding secured?
Not at all. I think that once he starts having those conversations, he has a legal and a moral obligation to get that information out and make it public. Otherwise, it's insider trading, and he's telling some investors, but not little guys like me. I think that he absolutely the most fair thing he could do is put that out on Twitter to say, hey, I'm considering this. This is what's the discussions that are happening, and put the information out.
So what if the information isn't true?
Well, now you're making an accusation that he's lying. And
what I'm saying is that his statements are completely unsubstantiated and outside of the realm of official securities disclosures, which most CEOs adhere to.
So, yeah, we hashed this over.
I know.
Yeah, that he could use other techniques to put out the information, and then I think it just gets to a smaller audience, and I think it's less fair.
Okay. What about a privately owned Tesla? Without digging into Ed stuff here, I mean, do you think that's a good deal? Are you excited about that?
I'm pretty indifferent about it. The way that he's going to do it, the company's still going to allow investors to invest in the company. The only difference is you'll have a couple windows a year where you can buy and sell.
Right.
And I'm a long-term investor anyway. I don't need to trade it daily. So actually I did buy some today.
Is it down below 300?
No, I bought it at 333 was the price I bought it at.
So it went up another $30 today?
I don't know
think it
what
was at 305 this morning. Yes, I look at the Tesla stock price all the time. I'm looking at it right now.
338, I think, is what it closed at.
Wow.
Okay. It was never down into 305s today. I don't know.
Let's see. It was, oh, excuse me, you're absolutely right. 337. 332 was as low as it got. Why did I think it was like at 300?
It looks like it opened at 343 and it closed at 338.
So what about paying capital gains on all of your stock because of this change?
Yeah, so I invest in a lot of different companies, and in fact, last month, a company that I owned, Cavium, got bought out for cash by one of their competitors, and that forced the sale, and that happens. And paying capital gains is a good problem to have. It means I made money, so I don't mind paying my fair share when that happens.
I totally respect that you said that. I'm 100% sincere.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
There's a lot of this. You could easily whine about paying taxes on money that you made in the stock market, but
right.
It's a really great problem to have.
Right. And I know that Tesla has been good to you stock wise. And I know that we both think the Tesla mission, as stated, is worth supporting financially, whatever.
Yeah. So that will be interesting if, depending on how it happens, you might be able to do what's called a like-kind transfer, and defer the taxes. I'm not sure. I've never. So like I said, in the cases where this has happened to me in the past, I was just forced to sell and cash out. But now I'll be instead able to hold over into this private Tesla, assuming it happens. Will it be that I'm selling my shares and then buying this private stock as two separate transactions, and I have to pay taxes or not? I don't know. That's a good question.
I just again, and I know we disagree on this. I think Elon is helping nobody but himself. Well, I say that for a wide range of reasons. I think the way he's dealt with home energy, even though I'm admittedly very tied up in that personally, or I was, I think the way he's kind of blown off home energy and sort of just slowly shutting it down is tragic, and it's absolutely goes against the basic mission of the company.
I'm not sure that I would agree that he's slowly shutting it down, but maybe not accelerated as much as some other parts of the company. But
deft spin, my friend, deft spin.
Because they haven't been, they don't have their solar roof in mass production yet. They're still selling the solar systems that they do have. And as far as the power walls goes for residential, that has never really been a big part of their business. They've instead have been focusing on, the large industrial size. It's not called power wall. What are those called? Power pack.
Power pack is the commercial.
Yeah. So they've been focusing more on the commercial side.
So, but you don't think that's sort of a rejection of the basic mission in cutting the staff by like 70% and like saying, well, suddenly, okay, you're probably not going to come to an agreement on that. So.
Well, actually, so I don't know that when they did their rounds of layoffs, I don't know that the energy part was it targeted far more than the rest of the company?
Yeah, it was 9% because at the 10% threshold, then it's officially some other kind of layoff and they have to give notice and it gets a lot more expensive. So it was 9% and it was heavily targeted at home energy. Yeah. And what's happened is they canceled. Well, they didn't cancel. They basically just walked out of the contract they had with Home Depot, which was costing them lots of money because they had to pay Home Depot every time they sold a system there. They had to pay idiots like me to stand in there and get people to sign up. But that was 60 to 70% of solar. So they've walked away from that. of their systems annually came from Home Depot, 60 to 70%. They've walked away from that. They've cut the staff. They put the remaining staff in Tesla stores. So instead of 12 stores plus 2 Tesla stores, for instance, in San Diego County, now you can only get Tesla Solar in 2 stores.
Right. So that was, I think, one of the plans they had when they merged with Solar City was that they could then start selling solar in the Tesla stores. They've
Which
already
they
got
did.
staff there.
Mhm.
And so I think this was part of, cost savings from that merger.
No.
No? Okay.
I mean, I get it. Yeah. See, and here's where it goes back. I feel like that merger was way more about bailing Elon out of Solar City than it was about actually expanding solar, about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. It was about bailing Elon out. Because again, if your mission means something to you, then you do what you can. You don't do things that work in the exact opposite direction.
Well, unless you have to find they are a for-profit company.
They are indeed.
Yeah,
but,
so they can't do things that are just operating at a huge loss.
Not my problem. I mean, like, as someone who wants to see the world accelerate towards sustainable energy, it's not my problem. Elon's got money. He's willing to put money in some places, but not others. And again, I agree. If Tesla goes out of business, mission meaningless, right?
Yeah, then they fail.
He can't go out of business. So I'm definitely not saying that. But I am saying that it sure was convenient the way that worked out. It sure did work out well for one guy. Not so much the mission or anybody else. Maybe I'm a little too personally involved there. I will admit that. Patrick.
So the one of the questions you asked was
yes, sir.
With taking Tesla private.
Yeah.
So one thing that will do is right now there are plenty of people that want to see them fail because they're betting against the company. And in some cases, at least allegedly working actively against it. And if you've read the Fairfax case that we talked about on here, there were people actively working to make that fail.
Sure.
And some of those same players are involved in shorting Tesla.
Sure.
So this new plan of taking them private eliminates that option. They now have no incentive to have people actively working against them.
How is bringing Saudi oil money into Tesla helpful for that, preserving that mission?
Well, they already own part of the company because it's a publicly traded company. Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. I thought it was less than 5, but still.
They just upped their stake this week.
Oh, okay, right. So if you're taking it private, it's a real question about how many people that own the stock now are going to continue to hold it.
Right.
And for all those that do decide to sell, where's the money going to come from to buy those shares?
Sure.
Yep.
I find I totally get, hey, taking the company private does relieve Elon and the board and Tesla of a lot of problems.
Right.
Where I
some
find
of them self-imposed, but yes.
Thank you for saying, because allegedly Elon solved all those problems. Yet this is the other solution now. Before it was like, hey, quarter 3 and 4, we're good. We're going to be there. We're going to make it. We're going to do this. And now it's like, no, holy shit, we got to go private because we got to get these horrible shorts out of our shorts. And, it feels disingenuous to me again. And that's the part that I can't escape. As much as I love Tesla, the company, and the product and the mission, I keep bumping up against Elon. And admittedly, Elon is the reason Tesla is what it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's why I was saying you can't expect him to be the way you want him to be. You have to accept him the way he is, or not at all.
Yeah, although I don't think it's wrong for me to say he could be better, and it would be nice if he was better.
Yeah, you can say that all you want. I don't know how much it's going to change the world.
Just the same way as I could say I wish Jim Hackett at Ford would really do something about alt cars and would actually, instead of just pretending, every once in a while sending out a PR person to go, yay, we're going to do this. And then they never do it. Yeah, of course I can. I can say that.
Yep. And I think you just said another show title too. Get
What's
the
that?
shorts out of my shorts.
Okay. Yeah, my shorts. I write slowly.
That's okay.
I eat slowly too. It's just kind of weird. I'm kind of a slow guy. I don't know. I mean, do you have any other points you want to make to me on this?
No, I think we've said it all.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about Ed's article?
I mean, I think we kind of did. I mean, do you want to? Is there something in there that you want to tear apart? I'll certainly listen.
So Ed always does a great job of getting his facts, and they're spot on. And then somewhere in the article, he jumps into his opinionated part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he is such a negative person. If we listened to him, mankind would have never achieved anything. I mean, I would rather read an article written by Baby Groot that just said, I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot, rather than Ed's. He goes into here about how, the dual risks of market losing confidence in Musk's ability to deliver on his daring goals and the broader macroeconomic downturn, the force majeure that Musk may have alluded to in Tesla's second quarter earnings call. That's not at all what Musk was talking about. He's talked about force majeure before, and he's talking about factories burning down at their suppliers, which has happened. They're talking about major earthquakes that have happened at their suppliers. He's talking about things like they couldn't get trunk carpet across the border because of drug cartels in Mexico. I mean, these are things that will cause the company to have problems. He was not talking about these things that Ed's implying here. And he just goes on with this negativity that just I hate.
Is there a reason for the negativity, or you think it's just blind hatred?
If you talk to Ed, he'll tell you he's a pessimistic person. I mean, that's just his attitude, and he fully admits it. It's
sure. No, and the reason I say that is because Tesla makes a lot of its own problems, and the problems that other car companies don't necessarily have, because of what Tesla is, not because of shorts or not because of people working against it or because people are negative, because Tesla's got to do what Tesla's got to do, even if it doesn't make any damn sense at all.
So they're daring, they're bold, they don't want to do things the way that other people have done them.
A lot.
And when you tread into new territory, you're going to get some skin knees, you're going to make some mistakes, you're going to learn some lessons the hard way. And Tesla does all of those things, and that is the way of innovation.
No.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not the only way, it's a way.
The only safe path is doing things the way everybody else has done them. And if you stray off that safe path, you're going to get some scars.
What about Chevy? As old and traditional and staid a company as there could be, what about Chevy and the Bolt and the Volt?
Yeah, so Bob Lutz has talked about how that was nearly impossible to get off the ground, and it was only because of the Roadster, and that he was able to get the Volt to happen within the company. Mm-hmm. So that was an outside disruption. Otherwise, it would have not happened. He said that there were still way too many people that remembered the EV1 and all the money they sunk into that, and how it was a big fiasco, and they didn't want to go there again.
So Bob's argument is they did the Volt because of the Roadster.
Yes, absolutely.
He was a competitor to the Roadster.
No. It showed that the market is moving and that we have to be there too. Those are obviously two different cars and two different categories.
Sure.
But it was enough to get that fear of being left out to happen within the company, and without it, he wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah,
he talks about it in one of Chris Payne's movies.
I've excoriated Lutz on this show millions of times. millions. But yeah, whatever. I'm not a big Lutz fan. Hey, speaking of people that are influential, the final story. Interestingly enough, Doug Field, he was a former Tesla engineering chief. I think Elon at one of the calls was like just raving about how important Doug Field was to Tesla. Doug bailed on Tesla. Doug, interestingly enough, is back at Apple where he was before he was at Tesla, which of course, Apple being one of the other keywords on the internet that attracts people like flies to, now of course Apple's working on a car again and blah 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 blah. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that was one of our other bets, is whether or not Apple was doing a car, and you said no way.
They're still not doing a car. Okay, they're still not doing a car. Are you ready for that? They're not going to make a car. They may sell stuff for cars, but they're not going to make a car.
Yeah, what are they going to sell? An in-car Siri system, or are they going to? Who knows what?
I don't know. I mean, obviously they're spending a lot of money, and they brought Field back for some reason. And it probably wasn't his experience at Segway. But who knows? Maybe I don't know. That would, if you told me that is Apple making like an electric scooter, I'd be like, okay, I can see that. That makes sense to me. A car? No, it's just why? Why would Apple do that? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I can't see them just being a component supplier like Delphi or Bosch or somebody into the automotive industry, because they thrive on doing the whole end-to-end design and owning the entire experience, hardware and software. So it is pretty. I don't think they're going to sell just an infotainment system.
Yet they already do just sell an infotainment system.
Oh, do they?
CarPlay.
Well, yeah. So that
they sell it. They license it. Everyone has to buy a little chip from Apple to make it work.
Right. But Project Titan's more than that. Don't you think?
I don't know.
It's not just CarPlay 2.0 or whatever.
I honestly don't. I can't wrap my head around the idea that Apple's going to make cars. It just seems insane to me. And that said, Apple's done a lot of crap that I don't understand in the last few years. I think Johnny Ives, a brilliant designer who needs to be like collared and leashed and put in the back in the design building and not allowed to run major sections of the company like he has. And he's also a car nut. Ooh. Maybe Russell's wrong. I won't be shocked if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. So
did Doug Fields have anything to do with Tesla's new Autopilot 3 chip hardware? So it is one that can do an order of magnitude more inferences per second than the NVIDIA chip they've been using?
I don't know.
Because if that taped out and then he left, that timing would work out pretty well. Because now they've announced that chip, and I'm not sure how long ago Doug Field left.
I think it was literally he left like 2 weeks ago, and then like the next week he was back at Apple.
But he left on a leave of absence.
He's at a leave of absence
before that.
Yeah. One of the mysterious, Doug's been gone. Well, and he'd been gone for a couple of months. I want to say like 60 days, 90 days, maybe. He'd been not actively working. So, and who knows? Maybe Elon gunned him.
Yeah, or maybe that did just happen to coincide with when they taped out their chip. That was the major reason that he was there. He'd completed that project and wanted to go back. Who knows?
Maybe. It's weird. I don't know. I don't really care so much even about what this says about Tesla, because Tesla's been a shit show when it comes to executives anyway. I mean,
are they worse than anybody else in the Bay Area? Because job hopping.
Oh, you had to say Bay Area, didn't you?
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's where they're at. I mean that's where they hire from.
Are they any worse than any other car company?
Well, they're not any other car company, so I wouldn't use that metric at all. But
why not? They make cars.
That's cars are one of the things they make, but they're more a technology company that happens to make cars than a car company that has some technology.
I think that explains some of the problems with their vehicles. That they're a technology company that happens to make cars. I think if you're gonna, you know what I mean, like that whole sort of like, we make computers. No, you make cars. You make cars, and you make Powerwall too sometimes, and you're going to make Solar Roof someday. But I mean, I think they're a car company if you sell cars, right? I mean, at some level, okay, maybe they're a 60% a car company. Is that more fair?
Yeah, that's, I don't know if you look at it by revenue or by
Yeah.
staff or whatever metric you want to use, but
Truth is, I don't know. I would guess by staff, it's probably 80 or 90%.
yeah, from
Car
the
company.
General Assembly. Yeah.
Yeah. You add in all those folks. I don't know. I'm a little dubious of that whole description. I think it misses something. And that's, again, why Tesla, not because they innovate, because they feel like they need to innovate at every level. Everything has to come from Elon's first principles. Quote.
Right, which means there will be skin knees and there will be mistakes, and they'll end up doing it like nobody else. And that could be for the good or for the bad, like nobody else.
Right. Okay. That's all I got, man. You got anything?
Nope. I think it's a wrap.
That's a wrap. We didn't even call each other names. Should we do that just for the sake of argument? No. You're a rat. No. Get the shorts out of my shorts, huh?
I'm going to go check the chat room. And
you check the chat room. As always, I'll do some shout outs and then you can do yours while you're in the chat room. As always, thanks to Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy his music anywhere you can. iTunes. Don't go to CD Baby though. They suck.
Hey, that's a Portland company. Well, at least it used to be.
Yeah. Well, CD Babies. let me quote me. CD Baby sucks. Michael Mannering is awesome though. Thanks, Michael, for letting us use your music. God, like 9 years now. And we've never sent you a dime because we don't have a dime. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/whatdrivesus, Twitter @whatdrivesus, Instagram @whatdrivesusshow. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. If you'd like to subscribe for as little as $1 a month to help support the show, we would appreciate it. If you have ideas on stuff you want to see at like a membership level benefit, hey, I'd throw you guys $5 a month if you did this. Send it to us. Who knows? Maybe you'll end up with Patrick's home phone number. I don't even have it. So I'll find a way to get it. But, patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. And finally, of course, youtube.com/whatdrivesus, where you go. Please subscribe. We are at 596. We are almost over 600 subscribers. That is so, you know what? Thank you, all of you, all 596 of you who have already subscribed. Thank you for your support of the show. It is meaningful. It is helpful. And the first thing car companies look at, technology companies look at, are those subscriber numbers. So the higher that number is, the more access to stuff we're going to have, the more cool stuff we're going to be able to review and talk about. So thank you very much for that. Seriously, the best way to support the show for free, youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Patrick?
All right. So Phil Barclay has a suggestion.
Yes.
Two Amigos.
Oh, that's kind of cute. I kind of like that. I have to say, Patrick, we should do this once in a while.
Yeah.
Just you and me?
Yeah, the he said, she said version of the show.
It's just, it's not that I love everybody on the show, but it's interesting. Like it was like Evan and I just sitting down and having a conversation. It's a different kind of vibe, and yeah. I only talked over you a couple of times, for which I apologize.
Oh no, that I have plenty of time to get my words in here. No worries.
Fair enough. Plugs for you, sir?
Oh, yep. So you can find my scribblings at carswithcords.net, and I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. If you're in Oregon or Southwest Washington, you can come and hang out with us for our monthly meetings or our events. We have a bunch of them, and National Drive Electric Week is coming up in just a few weeks. So if you want to come check out some cars or even show yours off, you can join our mailing list and find out all the details there at oeva.org.
oeva.org. One of the best follows on Facebook or on Twitter. Patrick does a fantastic job putting all our news together, for which I thank him as well, because, I couldn't do it. I didn't do it. Patrick does it. And of course, he trolls the shit out of me.
You get volunteers, you get what you pay for, because I got to get some fun out of it.
So if I sing like $1 a week, would I get troll?
Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out to Baby Groot here too.
Baby Groot. Oh, wait. Here's a plug. Yeah. I was glad to buy this yesterday. Thank you. Thank you, Marvel, for taking $20 from me that I didn't have. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming on. Thanks to Tony Schaefer for trying to come on. And thanks, as always, to all of you who watch and listen and support the show every week. We all appreciate it very much. Until then, I guess, drive safe and download us next week and find out what drives us. Oh, hate when I forget to pot the music back up. Sloppy engineering, Patrick. Sloppy engineering. I am not a good CEO.
Who is?
And my Twitter habit is just as bad as Elon's. Well, maybe not quite as bad. Thank you, everybody.
Stay out of rehab.
Good night, Catherine. Bye.